Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and I am joined with, as always, my buddy Nick from Nick's Kix and Comix. And if you guys didn't see his slab video today, you need to go over to his channel after this and check that out. Incredible slabs, great books, and our guest of honor for this evening, none other than TJ himself from Flash by Night Comics YouTube channel. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing great, doing great. Happy to be here.
Chop and drop. How are you, sir? So, as we're giving the audience time to get in, and for the people watching on the rewind that might be new to you in your channel, I always like the guests to start out with a quick little description of themselves and their channel.
All right, so I am a fairly new comic reader slash collector. And I think my channel may reflect that. I right now I am doing um mostly haul videos, new comic book day, mail call videos, and a few and review videos. Um, that may not be that great because I like what I like, but I don't know if I have the comic knowledge to really say review, but I do go over stuff I like and what I'm reading in some of my videos that I call what's the keeping up with the comics. There we go.
Yep, yeah,
I have
that and
this
the re
I have this up theme to my videos, to my video names. And Mark from Legion of Comics actually came up with an idea for another name um, with the word up in it, which I think I'm gonna
Ooh,
use sometime this year.
yeah, he's got some good ideas, and he's got a lot of knowledge too.
Right. He wrote it down in the chat, and I'm like, well, now that
Especially
you
if it's
say it,
DC, I listen to him because I don't know much about DC.
Mm.
But that
right.
was bringing me to your name, Flash by Night. Obviously, you're probably a big Flash fan, and The Dark Knight, and I'm assuming that's how you put that together, or am I wrong?
Half right. I am
Yes,
a
you are.
Flash fan. The night part and the actually by night part, I guess, comes from Moon Knight.
Oh, Werewolf by Night, huh? Or
Yeah.
just by
So
night?
yeah. Well, the night part is from Moon Knight, but then I was kind of thinking about the Werewolf by Night 32, and I'm like, well, okay, Flash by Night. That's kind of smooth, rolls off the tongue, and there it went.
Yeah, and I noticed too. Now, with you really love reviews. Did you come from a background of reviewing stuff, or were you always a fan of watching reviews?
That is probably my favorite form of comic book content. Like I said, I'm pretty new. I started getting into comics uh, during the MCU. Like I always watched comic movies, shows, cartoons, and everything, but I never actually thought of picking up a comic until after Captain America, Winter Soldier. They
Oh,
they the twist, which everybody besides me knew about, but the twist where Bucky was the Winter Soldier, he wasn't dead, like blew my mind in the movie theater mid movie. Like who came up with this? And that kind of got the juices flowing and kind of lit the spark. And I'm like, well, I guess I need to know where this stuff comes from. Once I found out that twist that I saw actually came from a 20, 30-year-old story that everybody else had already read. Like, well, I guess I need to be reading too. And that's kind of how I got into reading comics.
right. So you didn't grow up with comics at all. They weren't a staple in your life as a child or anything, huh?
They were not. They were not. The only thing I collected growing up really was uh, basketball and football cards. And I even dumped that because I let myself get duped out of a Shaq rookie card. And next thing you know, that hobby was over with.
Mm. So let me ask: when you found out that twist, did you automatically go to that Ed Brubaker run in Captain America, or did you
I
do something else?
I still have not read it. I did not actually get into Captain America. when I saw the twist, the movie itself, and just knowing that some of these movie themes come directly from a comic book page is kind of what made me want to go and check out comics. And then there was a comic book store right next door to the theater, and so I kind of just moseyed right along and peeked in to see what the atmosphere was like and everything.
So you're the example out there that these movies do turn people into new readers of comics.
Right, right. And around the same time, and this is why I gravitated to the Flash. The Flash TV show was hitting on all the cylinders,
Mm-hmm.
and that's so I decided that once I decided I was going to get into comics, I was like, okay, there are these two comic book publishers because I didn't know what an indie was. There are these two comic book publishers. I want to find one character to gravitate from Marvel, one character to gravitate to from DC, and then we'll kind of take it light and move on from there. And the Flash TV show made me want to go and check out the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
And I gravitated to Moon Knight because I wanted to find a Marine Corps veteran character to read, and it was either Punisher or Moon Knight at the time. And I figured that most people who had that choice, and a lot of people in general, were reading the Punisher. So I wanted to check out the lesser known character that fit that description.
Right, and he's got a lot of lot more mental drama to his character too, which I think is quite a draw for him.
Right, right. Well, you know what? I think he has a more pronounced, more diagnosed mental drama. Because I would say now watching the Punisher TV show and kind of listening to people who are Punisher fans, I would say that Frank also has a lot of mental issues, but if we're going to be honest, his mental issues come out and result in cool gunfights and taking down bad guys to make sure they don't get back up. And so a lot of people don't look at it as much as mental issues because he's doing the work that we want to see done in a lot of cases.
Right. So now that we're on this subject, I want to ask you this and get your opinion as a newbie to the comics medium. So
Okay.
all of us, like Nick and I, we've been in the comics in and out most of our life. We got our favorites. We like our characters. And I want to ask you about Frank Castle and the whole skull controversy. As someone that's new to comics, like when we're like, oh, Marvel's changing the skull, it's some alien looking bunny rabbit thing or something. It looks like they took away the toughness of Frank Castle and made something goofy looking. Now, as a new reader into the comics, does changing the character's design, like the symbol that they're associated with, strike you in any way, or is it just like, oh, all right, let's see what that's about?
Okay, so this is kind of not fair because I kind of formed a third opinion about this during the Amazing Spider-Man run, which is that I don't believe that the change they're making to Frank Castle's look, I don't think that's permanent. I think it's supposed to go along with the story that Jason Aaron's writing. And then sooner or later, now whether or not they come back to the original skull is another question. And if we're just asking in a blank fashion, it wouldn't bother. I don't think it would bother me, but I see how it bothers people who are really, really attached to that character and have been reading that character. Um, I watched. I don't want to go too far out of the way, but I watched the Butcher's interview with Jimmy early this morning. That's like my Thursday morning.
That was a really good interview.
That's part of my Thursday morning routine now. But the Butcher was talking about how he grew up with Punisher, and even times when he moved away from comics and got away from it, he still never got away from the Punisher. He might have gotten away from everything else, but not the Punisher. And so you can see how a stark change would move a person who's been following this character. So I can see how it would bother people who've been following. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, I mean that character's been around 50 years, just like the way he is. I mean, it's going to be tough and it's going to be polarizing when you take away such an iconic thing from somebody. So yeah.
So now without
no, go ahead.
But okay, what I did commit to doing is that, and I may go back and read more Punisher, but the book is written by Jason Aaron. The new Punisher runs will be written by Jason Aaron. And so I went on Comixology and found a couple of runs of Punisher that Jason Aaron did before. And so I want to go back through and read and see how he treats the character and see how he appreciates the character. Because I think that should inform how we expect him to treat the character going forward.
And
now that's not a guarantee, but because you never know what he's getting from on high from the Mouse and Company.
Right. But I do have some trust in Jason Aaron. You know, as you know, and they're picking on me for it in the chat, I'm a Conan guy. Now,
right.
when Marvel got the Conan rights back in 2019 to make comics, Jason Aaron did the first total issue arc with Mahmud Asrar. Great art. He nailed the character Conan. It was really good. And now him and Mahmud are doing the King Conan 6-issue miniseries, and that's incredibly fantastic.
Right.
So I have trust in Jason Aaron as a writer. Like I can look past the silly symbol, and I've never been a Punisher fan, but I can honestly say that I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with it now, and I might actually buy a Punisher book where I hadn't before, because I never connected with the Punisher character myself.
Yeah, I already pre-ordered issue number 1. That's the plan. Is to and I do this from time to time, and it probably costs me a little extra money. But when the flow and popularity goes one way on the book, especially if it's negative, I'll at least attempt to dip my toe in and see if there's actual reason to be negative, or if people kind of hype things up and maybe get in their own head sometime. And either one could be true, but I'm gonna at least check out the first couple of issues to see what direction they may head.
It's working for me because I don't like I said, I don't buy Punisher books, and I'm gonna check this out. 1, because Jason Aaron's writing it, and 2, I just want to see how they explain the symbol. I have confidence in Jason Aaron making it make sense, regardless of who it's gonna piss off.
Well, now it's supposed to be. He's supposed to have some affiliation, at least at the start of the story, with the Hand, and so that kind of whether or not the symbol change was a good idea. I think the symbol change is incorporated with the idea that he's with the Hand and he's using more hand-to-hand and close quarter weapons combat instead of guns. At least at that point, I think. Like I said, there's no real way to know until you read it, but I think I'm giving them a huge benefit of the doubt. Punisher is just going there with each other.
It's still not true. Conan's got a better emotional core, Taylor, damn it. And he looks more into the ladies than the Punisher. And Conan's not afraid to throw back a whole bar full of meat and have a good time.
So how long have you been back in comics? Has it been since Winter Soldier, you said? So that's been about 7 or 8 years?
So the idea of actually picking up a comic came after Winter Soldier. The first time I actually went and started buying comics was probably around, and I should come up with dates and years instead of using movies, but it was probably around the time Black Panther came out. My first mini series was the rise of Black Panther. I was I was gonna check the main Black Panther out, but at that time, Coates was taking Black Panther into space, and I've heard some good stories since then. But I didn't want to read Black Panther in space.
Mm.
There's a Black Panther movie. Take me to Wakanda in this book and let me explore Wakanda.
Yeah, live in that world, or his
Yeah.
world for a bit.
Now I think that happened in the run previous with Coates, where
Mm.
you got to know all the politics and everything of Wakanda, and then Black Panther, and he changed some things around, uh, which I want to go back and read that too. I'm really bad at wanting to go back and read and never actually making it back to read, but I do want to go back and check that out. But at the time when the Black Panther was coming out, and I wanted to check it out, Black Panther was heading into space. Like, no.
Mm. I think around that same time that they had the World of Wakanda and also the Agents of Wakanda also. So that might have been more your speed also.
Yeah.
So
I know I didn't have they had the World of Wakanda. I read the Ages of Wakanda. That I think Ages of Wakanda came out of the Avengers run. I think the current Avengers run, and it was basically like a run of 2 issue stories. Like the whole story would be 2 issues, and then move on to another story that's 2 issues. And I want to say it ran for either 10 or 12 issues before it got canceled.
yeah, and when I got back in this time, that Avengers run in the early 30s, where it was him versus Moon Knight, that whole Fist of
Right.
Nine run was awesome.
I and maybe I fell victim to listening to too many people, but I think they may have gone a little off the reservation with it, a little bit further than I wanted to go
Mm.
with it. But it made sense. Um, it also so at the time, and I've learned since then, but at the time, I wanted to believe that Khonshu maybe a god, or he may be a figment of Mark Spector's imagination. Now,
Yeah,
since then, we know he's a god in this run, and that's another run that I haven't read yet. But I know Khonshu has physical impression on
mm.
people outside of Mark Spector, so you know he's an actual god that exists.
Yeah, and I think at least at first, when this TV show comes out, that's going to be a big part of it. We're not going to know if Nanchu is real or what, and I think that's going to play a lot into that TV show
Right.
when it first comes out.
I would love if even the whole time the MCU exists, if Moon Knight is there, and we never actually get confirmation of whether or not Khonshu is real or in Mark's head.
Mm.
I would like that more than finding out, unless like at the end of some big story with intergalactic, universe altering consequences, that this Egyptian god shows himself. Maybe then, but as long as we're doing street level stuff, I'd like for it to at least be some doubt.
Mm.
It might be that would be hilarious if we're watching like the Moon Knight show,
It'd be like
and
Bob
maybe
Newhart.
in like episode number 5, we find out that none of the stuff we watched like the last 10 years was real, and it was a dream Mark was having, and he's talking to his counselor and talking about Thanos and the blip, and she's like, "What are you talking about, Mark?"
Now,
it would piss a lot of people off, but I would think it's funny.
and I think the casting's great. Oscar Isaac is a phenomenal actor.
Yes, yeah. And they had videos leak. They leak, and it may have been him leaking the videos, but somebody was leaking videos of him training like months back, hand to hand fighting, knife fighting, and everything in the gym before he was officially announced as the actor. So I thought that was pretty cool that he's really getting into it.
Yeah, see, for me, I think he's a great actor, I think, but the physicality part of it, it doesn't just jive with me because he's like a short little guy too, and I figure Mark Spector is like that.
Hey, what do you got against us short guys, huh?
Listen, there's just some people you're not afraid of. You know what I mean, Gary?
I know those are the people that get you. You know what I mean, Nick?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. We'll get into that backstage. We'll leave that one alone until backstage.
Yeah, it's fun surprising those people, I can tell you. Now, if you guys have never seen Ex Machina with him,
It was great.
that movie is phenomenal.
I need a list of Oscar Isaac movies. I guess I can go on IMDb and just look it up. But I need a list of good Oscar Isaac movies
If you want
to
to
check
see
out.
him really acting, watch Ex Machina. He goes through a couple different stages in that, and it's pretty amazing.
Okay.
Really good. So I want to talk because you weren't always in the comics. So what was your first trip like into a comic book store? Did you just pass by one and decide to go in, or did you already know of its existence? And did you go by yourself, or did you take some buddies that you go to the movies with?
Like I said before, my first comic book store, which isn't my store now, but my first comic book store visiting, it was right around in the same shopping center as the movie theater. And so I saw it on the way out, and then like a couple of days later, I decided to go and walk around and look around. And the store owner was inviting. He was a nice guy, and he gave me his card in case I wanted to start doing business. But I called, and this may not be his fault, but I called him like 3 times, and he never picked up. And then I called the other store in town, and they picked up. And that's how my business. That's how my business goes.
Hey, that's all right. The guys that pay attention get it, right?
Right. Now I've been to his store since then. I go every once in a while to get something if I can't get it from my store. But my store is a little bit closer to me, and they've been good to me, so they get my business first.
And that's tough because I've been to tons of different comic stores, and I hate to say it, but it's hard to find one with integrity towards most of its customers.
Mm.
You know, I've had people pull out of my pull list and sell it to a buddy instead of holding it for me. I'm like, why do I have a pull list for you if I'm coming here this week and now my book's missing? You know what? I'll go everything. I'll go elsewhere.
I have seen 100 different horror stories about comic book shops, and I guess that just makes me blessed because I've never thought that I have an issue with my store. I've never had them. Hi, Rob.
Sorry so much, guys. I fell asleep.
Hey, I understand.
That I know about.
Just know
with that being said, what's your great idea of what's your favorite aspect of the comic shop? What does your dream comic book shop look like?
Dream comic book shop, I'm gonna say, has a nice selection of new books. Because my current shop's only shortcoming for me is that they really try to control their inventory and not order a whole bunch of books. And so if I don't pre-order like certain indie books, especially indie books, I won't be able to get them because they don't order an abundance of books, which I understand because they don't want to be, if you're a business, you don't want to be holding tons of inventory and have your money tied up in that. But a good selection of new books, knowledgeable person, knowledgeable workers that you can kind of talk to and ask questions and shoot the breeze with, and a good dollar bin. And I think that's about it. Clean store, normal stuff, but it doesn't have to be really special.
Just
for me to go around and just organize the shoppable. There we go. Nothing special, no frills. A discount for regular customers.
Yeah, like ours does 20% off all new books.
Oh, I have ours is I think we get a $20 credit for every 200 we spend. So it's about 10% off basically in the end, which isn't terrible. That's basically tax here, but you know whatever you can get, you take.
Right.
And like I said, they're good people. I've never had a problem. I've never thought that they crossed me or did anything foul. So and unless something drastic happens, that'll be where I am on Wednesdays and any other free time I have to get out there.
Now I want to ask you this because Nick was talking to me earlier, and I had to console him a little bit. He was crying, and he was mad at me. He goes, "Why did you invite somebody on the show with a better beard than me?" So tell him about your beard game a little bit. How long have you had the beard?
I actually did not
over there.
I actually didn't think I would have a beard. Maybe until like maybe a couple of years ago because I met my wife when I was in the Marine Corps, and she was very averse to facial hair. And then she suggested growing it out to see what it looks like. I feel like this side here, and maybe people will look at it now, but this side here, I feel like grows a little thicker. I don't know why.
It doesn't grow it doesn't grow evenly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's just normal.
Like a symbiote beard or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's normal. They say that roughly about a third of your facial hair follicles grow at any given time, and so it's going to come in at different rates.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
that's why they say that it takes like a full year to grow in a full beard and have it really look like what it's supposed to.
See, and that's how you know Gary was lying with his preamble to this whole question, because we're dealing with the most iconic beard in the business.
Well, the beard most of the beard is gone. It's just the mustache that remains. But
I don't get to see Nick as much lately, so I got to pick on him when I do.
Yeah, that's true.
He's throwing me under the bus
after he cut back that beautiful thing.
Live television. He's throwing me under the bus.
No, the one thing you'll know about Nick is Nick is one of the nicest guys out there. He's never got a bad word for anyone. Well, except maybe me now, but that's probably about it. That's probably about it.
You're getting there, Gary. You're getting there.
Now, Nicky, nice guy.
Now that you've been into comics, who would you consider your comic influencers? Is there any opinions that you listen to, or you just mostly go by your gut and the interest you develop by watching movies?
Anybody I really listen to?
Yeah, like if you're gonna pick up something, you're gonna give it a try. You're like, oh, if that guy's trying it, I'm gonna try it. We all have someone that we share similar tastes with, and
I don't know if I have that one person yet. I can be persuaded pretty easily. So if either one of you three right now popped up and said, "Hey, this is what I think. This is what it sounds like you like. I have this book you need to try." I'll go and order it and see what happens. There's nobody. I don't think there's anybody I really lean on more than anybody else. But my ears are always open for good advice, for knowledge and things like that, because like I'm having fun, but I know there are people, mostly community members, who've been, if not steady in it much longer than I have, they've at least been in, got out, and came back in, but they have a lot more knowledge than I do. So my ear is always open to anybody who has advice or who may know something that I need to know.
Now, you mentioned already that you found comics through the movies.
Yes.
But I mean, you don't just find comics and stay in comics if you don't find something in them that you enjoy. So once you got into comics, what story hit you that made you stay with comics?
Ooh, the story that and it happened early on. The story that really hit me was the death of the mighty Thor, which is it's the issues 700 through 705 of Thor, where Jane Foster was still Thor. And for I don't know if everyone knows this, but when Jane Foster was Thor, she also had cancer,
Right.
and every time she would turn into Thor, every time she'd wield the hammer, the power of Thor would kill her chemotherapy, and so she'd go back to zero on her cancer treatment. And in either 704 or 705, we find out that the man Gog, which I need to check out more of him also, because he's a really cool concept. But the man Gog is just running roughshod through Asgard. He's put out Heimdall's eyes. That's why Sif is playing Heimdall right now. Put out his eyes. He's killed a whole bunch of people. He's about to destroy Asgard. Thor and Odin, or I guess the unworthy Thor and Odin, can't handle it. The hammer goes to Jane. Jane knows she has one more transformation, and it's gonna kill her. And Jane takes the hammer and goes to fight and handles Mangog, figures out how to handle Mangog, but then she's gonna die. She knew she was gonna die, and they gave us that death and the embrace between her and Thor, and it kind of moved my emotions a little bit. Like, you know what? I can get with this. And then in 706, they took it all back. They're like, what in the world is Marvel doing?
Sounds like Marvel.
Yep.
They gave me this lovely, lovely story where this person knew that it was either her or Asgard. And she chose Asgard. She sacrificed herself. And then the next issue, boom, come back. Why?
her warrior's reward.
They had the doors to where's that? Where's
Valhalla.
Valhalla? They had the doors to Valhalla open for her to walk in, and no, we turned down Valhalla to come back here or be alive again.
So, are you excited now to see
Natalie Portman.
Jane as Thor in the new movie?
I am sort of excited. I want the new Thor movie. Period. I've always got at least a decent excitement level for every new movie and new project that comes out. And then whatever happens, and my excitement may die down or may increase. I've always got some small level of excitement going when something new is about to come out. I am curious as to what they're going to do to bring Natalie Portman, or to basically bring Mjolnir back, and then make Jane Thor. Like, I want to know what story they're going to tell. How are they going to pull that off? Because one, there is no Mjolnir, and two, she's got to find a way to become worthy. So I want to know how they pull this off. So I'm curious.
I wonder if they're gonna split her off into her own trilogy after, and then kill her again, and then kill her like in the comics.
Well, there has been a picture circulating with her in the new Avengers team. So,
oh really?
What?
You'll have to share that with me, Nick. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, and it was awesome because she was gone for so long. It was against it for so long. I didn't think she was going to be part of more than just this one movie.
Right.
I think the word was that she didn't like it because she didn't want to spend a whole bunch of movies playing damsel in distress for like 10 minutes of a movie, and she wanted more to do. And I don't think that was more for her back then in the MCU in the Thor movies. So I think she was out because they basically gave her this bit role, and she's like, I want to do more.
Right, and she's a headliner.
So if they let her be Thor, then maybe she's like, okay, I can deal with this. Now, as far as this picture, as far as this picture goes, I don't have a whole lot of pet peeves, but like leaks and rumors and such 2-3 years before movies come out and ruin the surprises. I really don't like that. I try to stay away from it as much as I can, but sometimes it hits you.
Sometimes Nick just comes right out and blurts it without thinking.
well, so it's not Nick's fault because he doesn't know that about me.
No.
But I always blame the source. Whoever the source is of this stuff, whoever's crawling over the wall to take pictures, like if they fall off the wall one day, as long as they don't kill themselves, I'm not gonna lose sleep. That
You're
kind of
muted,
that
Nick.
sounds
No, we
kind
know
of
exactly what you mean. You're good.
This is
Yeah.
part of the Marvel thing, though. They put that disinformation out there.
Right.
So
And
who
that
knows?
that may be it, and that's something I actually like. And the first time I saw it, and I think the first time most people saw it was in Infinity War when they had
The
the
Hulk in the
Hulk
crowd.
running through the trailer, and then it's not in the movie. I'm like, I understand some people were disappointed in what the Hulk did in the movie, but I like that Marvel intentionally turns you this way and then swings this way.
Because if everything was true, we would have seen Mephisto already. We would have seen we would have seen all this stuff already. So
The funny thing is, Mephisto is somewhere. He may not he may not have shown his face yet on any show, and may not for the next 4, 5, 6 years. But I guarantee you, if he isn't in the plans already, somebody has heard word that this
When
is
they
what the people
reveal
want.
him, they'll tie him back into everything, like all the clues were there all along.
When they need to reset
Right,
it.
right. Was it not No Way Home? Far From Home. When they started showing all the people that Mysterio was working with, and one of them is the doctor from the first Iron Man movie
Right.
that Ironmonger hollered at. I'm like, who thought of that? Who said let's take this guy who nobody ever noticed in the movie, and we're gonna make him a big star who left a piece of tape behind or actually stole something. I think he's coming back for something. Who knows?
well, that's the
But
guy.
but
That's the kid from A Christmas Story.
but but like people who intentionally like leak things, like I don't know. I feel like most people have seen it already, but there is a cameo in No Way Home, really popular cameo with everybody, and a popular YouTuber like with his watermark on the picture leaked the picture on Twitter, and it got around, and I was like, damn it, can I curse on here? I'm not gonna curse much, but damn it, why would
Oh, you
why would
can
you
curse
do
on
that?
here.
Eh, eh, why would you ruin that like that? Like there are 2 or 3 things in every movie that should surprise people because people are paying money for these movies. Don't give it away 2 weeks in advance. What am I paying for?
So get to the point where they're going to have to put an entire fake cast and studio production going on under the name, so they can
Right,
have the real thing going off somewhere else. And
right, and then you got actors having to lie about everything about the movie because people have caught stuff on camera and shared things, and you got to lie about it, and it's not really good lying because people have seen you. But I kind of wish we weren't at the point where and there's a market for it because there's got to be a market for that kind of inside information. But I wish everybody wasn't so thirsty for it,
it's
so the
become
rest of
our
us wouldn't have to dodge
Royals.
it.
Now, as a Moon Knight fan, are you hoping that they keep him at the street level with his series, that he doesn't become like this big Avenger, that he just stays a street level hero like Daredevil or the Punisher?
I am hoping so, and I am hoping because he's been part of the West Coast Avengers, and he was part of the Secret Avengers,
Yep.
but he's kind of reluctant to team up with those guys. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe somebody comes knocking and he like flat out 100% lets you know that this is not what I want to do. You capes and even though he has a cape, you capes and cowards go and save the world. I've got things at night to do. I've got people I've got to watch out for. I've got a face I've got to cut off. They're not gonna let him cut anybody's face off on Disney. But but if he can cut someone's face off, Bushman will get it.
You know, I don't know. People keep saying that they won't do this, they won't do that, and then you see sometimes you get to see some pretty brutal stuff that you didn't think they'd do, and it's in there.
Right. And he, I assume he's going to be at least somewhat brutal. I'm hoping I'm hoping he's brutal enough. Maybe you can't get a whole bunch of gore. Maybe he doesn't kill any of his villains. He's been known to, but maybe we get a couple of broken bones and some beat up and bloody guys that we can kind of rally around.
But man, how good would it be to see that Charlie Cox Daredevil and Oscar Isaac Moon Knight team up and on the small screen? That would be just incredible.
You throw burn.
I would. That's what I was about to say. I would rather, and I would expect sometime to see the Punisher and Moon Knight cross paths because they have a few times before, and they kind of know and have a respect for each other, but they kind of a-holes to each other as well.
And then Jack is bringing up a point, and I want to know how you feel about this.
Okay.
Where stuff like vampires and werewolves, because that's the side of Marvel we haven't delved into, and I really want to see the monster.
And we know it's coming.
Marvel.
We're getting there.
We know it's coming
for it, you know, and
they have for a Halloween special in the future. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but there's a Halloween special. They have casted an actor for Werewolf by Night. So I don't know if they'll cross paths, but I do think that Moon Knight opens an opportunity for them because I think that's one thing that separates Moon Knight from that other DC character people compare him to is the supernatural elements that he delves into with werewolves and vampires.
And we know the vampires are coming in MCU because you not only do you have Morbius on the Sony side, but then you've got Blade coming over here on the MCU side. So,
yep.
And they kind of dropped the hint about the existence of vampires in Loki in one of the hallway scenes when they were asking about multiverse things. They were talking about vampires in one of the other universes. Like, oh, we're just dropping that on the floor. I'll receive that, sir. I'll take it.
Yeah, I just at my LCS the other day on my way out, I just grabbed the first appearance of the Varney and I dropped that magazine in my folder. well, it's still only $10.
Wait, first,
who has it going for $40?
Now, who is that?
The Varney, they're a race of vampires in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
And it's a pretty cheesy cover, but it was in old magazine format. But no, fun stuff. I can't wait for that side of it. Now we've talked a lot about Marvel, but you all obviously have some DC influences. What have you thought about? Do you watch any of the DC stuff on HBO Max? Like I just watched the first Peacemaker tonight before we jumped on here to see how that was.
So good so far.
I am behind on a lot of that DC stuff, and I really need to like a lot of my TV watching this has kind of slowed down a little bit, and I really need to catch up on. I just remembered I hadn't watched Swamp Thing yet. I want to catch up on Titans. I'm tempted to try and sneak one episode of Peacemaker in before I go to bed tonight.
It's going to be hard to sneak just one because for me, it's like the first scene alone had me cracking up. So
I've heard it's good. Mr. March, Mr. Legion,
Oh, he's a
had a
DC
ball this.
shill.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
watch what he says. Everything that DC comes out
Well,
is fantastic for me.
well, he had apparently he had a ball with it. So
Oh,
I'll probably
it's vintage James Gunn, so I mean that should tell you what you're in for right there.
yeah. If you slap James Gunn on it, I trust he knows what he's doing. He has a vision and knows what he's doing. So I'll probably try to catch one episode of that. Maybe sneak in an episode before work. We'll see how that goes. But I really do need to catch up on some of that DC stuff. I missed the last season of Stargirl. Haven't watched Stargirl yet.
I had to give up on the entire WB stuff, which hurts because I was loving like Legends of Tomorrow and stuff, and just didn't have time.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I've missed a lot of the CW stuff. I still, it's been a labor of love, but I still watch the Flash because that's my guy. Even
Yeah, it's
though
gotten a little, that one's gotten kind of a little tough.
it
Well,
hurts, it hurts a little bit to watch it,
I think
but I
the
still
problem
make sure I
now
catch it.
is we're not conditioned anymore for 23 episode, 22 episode seasons.
I was
Now
that
we're
that was
10, 13 episode season people.
that's my first thought is that you have to, in order to get a good I don't know if are superhero shows, comic book shows made for that many episodes
That
without having to stuff it with fluff and
that may
things.
be because I mean I disagree. I mean there's a lot of shows that I sit there and go, man, I hate when they go off after that many 23 episodes and they go on hiatus. You're like, no. But some of the superhero ones have definitely been like, all right, this is a lot of the same old, and like, no evolution in the characters. Like, how many seasons has been is Barry Allen still sitting there going like, oh no, I can't quite do it. I'm just not fast enough. Yes, you can. You can do it, Barry. All right, I can do it. Yay.
And someone it doesn't matter who it is, someone has to say, run, Barry, run.
Right.
And
And how many
then
seasons did the Arrow go like, I don't need any help. I can do it all by myself. You guys go away. Oh, thank you for coming and helping.
Yeah. I'm really Batman on TV.
He really was, yeah.
but I think that and there may be a time when 23 at 20, like a lot of people and rightfully pointed to the Netflix shows, and they're like Daredevil is better than anything on TV. And I'm like, yes, Daredevil is right now because he is 1.5 regular seasons into episodes. Call me back when Charlie Cox hits like episode 120 and tell me if he had treaded water a little bit or if he had crossed the same ground
even
a couple
those
of times.
shows had a tendency to tread to water a little bit too, to stretch even for what they were. Because like the Luke Cage show, there was a lot of fluff in it, and it same where you could have cut 2 episodes out. But what they do well, very well, is they're telling basically one story over that 8 episodes, which network television, even 23 episodes, if you could imagine, say, okay, we got 23, 24 episodes this season, and we're going to tell 2 complete stories. Network people would lose their we can't expect people to come back for 8-10 weeks in a row to watch the story. And where would people jump in the middle? Because there's no rewind watch quite the same. So I think that's kind of the problem, is that they get stuck in that episodic grind as well, where it's very difficult you can have a string throughout the season, which they do, but you still have to have this individual episodic issue that goes on.
Yeah.
And then you always have to have those one filler episodes that focus on a secondary character or the main character.
Right. We could, in order to get this actor, we contractually committed to giving them a certain amount of screen time. So we need to focus on this person for this. And
But
So, Rob, ask him your question.
Well, first, as long as I can let me ask a question. I'm sitting here surveying the background, and I can't help but spot. I think this is the first person I've ever seen to have Aquaman on display. Tell me about that issue of Aquaman.
that is, and I don't even remember what issue number it is, but it is the first Black Manta. It is well loved. I don't know if the cover is going to stay on if I take it out of the bag.
Don't do that.
but somebody was selling it on Facebook for like $20, and I'm like, well, it's the first Black Manta, and if it's not in great shape, it's not in great shape. But like $20, I can't turn that down. That's the same thing with my Superman Flash race back there. It's very well loved, but it was $15. Who turns that down?
I bought a Batman 181 first appearance of Poison Ivy for $30. That's a convertible, right? Cover completely off, missing the centerfold. The cover's roached, only about 2/3 there, but it was $30. How could you?
Right.
You couldn't physically walk away from the table. It was like, oh, sorry. So, okay. So we will spin this even to the TV shows. So Marvel, DC, they're coming at you, and they hear what you're doing, they hear what stuff they're listening right now. This guy's got some ideas. He knows, he's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what's going on. And obviously we have issues, and not just lots of comic book issues, but we need some help. Flash by Night. They're both on either side of you. Well, like a devil and an angel, but Marvel and DC. They're going, pick a book, any book, save it. This book has gone off the rails, and it needs help. It needs to be refocused. It needs them. But you can only do one. What book from Marvel or DC or character would you choose to save, and what do you think it needs to help it refocus?
I'm glad you said book or character, because I have a character and I've been harping on it. DC will not give me my Duke Thomas attention that I want. Duke Thomas, the Signal. There are 24 hours in the day. There are more hours of sunlight than there are nighttime, and Duke Thomas has been crowned the daytime protector of Gotham by Batman.
But
why can I not have more Duke Thomas? He's got a crew with him. He's got backstory. His parents were doused by the Joker, and I think they're insane right now. They may be still locked up or whatever. But he's been crowned the daytime protector of Gotham. And I see every Gotham hero in books constantly, but Duke Thomas.
Yeah, I think I saw him only just recently. He was like drawn in the background of a scene of Detective Comics or something like.
I think it was. I forget the issue number. Whatever issue number after Future State, when they started all of the Infinite Frontier stuff. Whatever issue number of Batman that was, they have this big spread of every Batman hero type character, and he's up there in the rafters somewhere. Like you can see him, and he's got this one Secret Files one shot that catches up with him and a couple of his We Are Robin compatriots who turned evil, and they introduced a new villain. And I want to say either his mom or his dad. No, his mom escaped the crazy house. His dad is not who he's grown up to know as his dad. His dad is something else. We don't know. But there's a whole thing. There's tons of story for Duke Thomas. And I appreciate the Outsiders run he was in. But I need Duke Thomas back here. Like all the Robins have a couple of books, and the Batgirls who I really want Duke Thomas. If I can get Duke Thomas and Cassandra Cain in the book, I'll take that too. But nobody, Duke Thomas is nowhere to be found, and he has a whole half of the day to himself.
Yeah.
All the other characters work at night. He has the whole daytime to himself. But we never see a daytime Gotham book, I guess.
Bravo. I agree. I love Duke Thomas. I love what so much potential of what they can do with him. And that is a great pick. Awesome. All right. All right, Mark, Gary, you can mark him down. He's an expert. He's got good ideas. Put him down.
Now, I do want to get into one other thing. So you are new to comics, basically, within the last 10 years through the movies.
Yes.
But I do see, and this is something me, Nick, and Rob all do. We're all slab people. We all get comics graded, encased for different reasons and for some of the same reasons. And I see you got a slab book behind you. What was your first slab book, and what got you into slabbing books, or are you really into it at all?
I would like to be into it, but circumstances being what they are in the grading companies, I'm still reluctant to jump in with both feet. I actually that Batman the Red Death from not Dark Knight's Metal, yeah, Dark Knight's Metal. I bought that off the shelf, and I found an Amazing Spider-Man 365. Is that the first 2099?
Yeah.
Yep.
I found it for $2 in a flea market, and I started watching some of the collectors in the community, and I heard that, if they're in good shape, being graded and being preserved can add value. And I thought to myself, I'll find somebody to press them, because I'd heard of pressing by now, and I'll find someone to press them and clean them and submit them and see what happens. I basically did it for an experiment, just to see what happens. And it came back in 96. The Spider-Man came back in 96. Before Into the Spider-Verse came out, I sold the Spider-Man 365. I've got a ton of If I Had Have Known stories, but if I had have known, I probably wouldn't have sold that one. So I keep that one as my first slab that I submitted. There's an 8.0 Batman book that I bought for $25 just to say I bought a slab before I ever submitted one. But that was basically just an experiment. As for being a slab guy, I do want more. But CGC and CBCS being what they are right now, and having I got a couple of books back from CGC recently. I've got to do I think I'm going to do a live show for that. But CBCS recently had a book. I think they just shipped it out, and they had a book of mine for like maybe a year and a half.
Wow.
way before the increased times that we all talk about now. Like my little book was hostage, and I'm a really patient person, so I emailed them like 3 times, and once they told me it was because of the pandemic, and it was getting signed by Tom Taylor, and he was in Australia and everything.
Oh yeah, some of the signing stuff that was going on with the mail signings were really.
But now since then, in fact, a few days ago. Now bear in mind, now they've had this book like a year and a half. A few days ago, I emailed them and I asked them about it. This is CBCS, and I said that I really like. It's not an important book. If you could just keep the book, if it's not graded yet, I assume it's not graded. If it's not graded, you can keep the book. If you can just give me not store credit, site credit or whatever, because I'd like to be a customer and send more things in, but I need to I need to see something that says I can trust you, because right now my one book I have with you is floating in limbo. Lo and behold, like maybe an hour or two later, they emailed me back and said that they know what my book is and they'll get it shipped and they'll give me some credit. And so it should be here Saturday.
Nice.
But I had to email them to get them to get off it and go find my book, which I assume they've had for a while sitting somewhere ready to ship. If my email prompts you like 2 hours later to say we have it and we can ship it out, then it's been sitting somewhere.
Well, it's probably there, but it's obviously how long it's hard to say, because I know that as a person who's shipped just a handful of books out during the pandemic, and a bunch and a fair number to various international signings, I will tell you that those have taken, whether they're CGC or CBCS facilitators and stuff that are dealing with it, by the time they get out to these international locations with some of the restrictions they had on them, and then they get to the artists, and the artists just take their time to get to them because they're working on other stuff and blah blah blah, back and forth. I've seen stuff take over 500, close to 600 days for some things to get through the full cycle. On some, Italy was like the worst. Some of the artists in Italy. I mean, I still got stuff that's now approaching 500 something days on a couple artists out of Italy. That's before it gets back to CGC or something, you know. Then he's like, oh, now it's got to wait in that mess.
It's not.
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say I don't want to. I wanted to see my book either back or see some move of customer service before I started sending more stuff.
That's a fair ask.
I'd like for some company to get my business, because I have books that I'm afraid that if they sit in regular bags, even if they're 9.8 worthy now, sooner or later, if they're sitting in regular bags, something's gonna happen, or they'll develop a spine roll. I don't know what a spine roll is technically, but they'll develop some kind of whatever kind of blemish sitting there. So I'd like to get more things. I'd like to get more things submitted, but the way the industry is right now, I'm kind of intrepid a little bit. I think intrepid is the word I'm looking for.
Now, you see, I submit through my comic shop. I don't do it personally myself, but I haven't sent anything overseas or anything. But every time I submit through my comic shop, I know it's about 5 months and I get my books back.
Yeah, it's definitely not a game for somebody who's anxious to get their books back unless you're willing to pay for that service, right? So,
and I did to CBCS's credit. So I don't sound like I just ran them down, which I kind of did just run them down. But I did.
Yeah, they deserve it, to be honest.
I did get two. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I did get 2 issues of Bunny Mask. Because despite the fact that I don't understand Bunny Mask half the time, I'm still a fan of it. I'm compelled to read
Bunny Mask. That was one of my favorite reads last year. I loved it.
It took me until issue number 4 to figure out who was talking. Was it Bunny Mask? Was it the snitch? Was the snitch Bunny Mask? I didn't know, but I was interested, so I read it.
Just the first arc.
But I got 2 coming. I got 2 exclusives that were a pretty good price, and as soon as they got to me, I shipped them off today to CBCS, and they came back basically later that week. They as soon as they got them, the turnaround time was just like that, and they came back graded, looking nice, not all jacked up. I didn't have any of the horror stories. I didn't have any of the horror stories from either company, but I didn't have any of the horror stories. But even that I think has the time has gotten expanded, even with the fast the fast grading services they have.
Yep.
So like I'll probably submit some more, but just know that once they're gone, I can wait until later in the year or early next year, depending on when I send them.
Yeah, I dropped some books off at CBCS today. I expect them.
They're your next door neighbor. I forgot about that.
I expect to have them back Monday or Tuesday.
He goes to CBCS headquarters for breakfast in the morning. They hang out.
They like Fuzzy's tacos over there.
As opposed to fuzzy tacos, yeah.
Fuzzy tacos, yeah. There's a whole different story on that.
Now, to answer Gene's question, Gene, I have not used EGS at all, so I have no experience with it.
Yeah, I have, and that's a whole different conversation to derail. That would take away from Flash here, but
right. But I was going to refer her to your channel, Rob, because
by all means,
refer him. Oh my gosh, I can't talk tonight. I was going to refer them to your channel because you have a video about it.
I do have a video about a couple of videos about EGS as well compared to the others, as well as if you tune in on Saturday during Slab Hub, we take all questions about slabs during our discussion about slabbed comics. So I'd be happy to.
I was about to say, if you had a 2 or 3 minute spiel, I'd like to be educated too.
Well, okay. I mean, Gary, do you mind? I'll give it really short.
No, I was trying to refer them to your channel, but if Flash wants to hear it,
the short bit is EGS. EGS is the new kid on the block. It's a one-man shop. They do have excellent email response times when I interacted with him. I will say that my caveat to all this is I haven't used them in the last year. I've sent 5 books to them as a test so that way I could see how they were beforehand. My email communications were always answered within 1 business day. Very quick to respond. The grading itself was good. I loved that with each book there was detailed grader's notes that were provided, including 9/8 got grader's notes. However, personally, I did not care for their slab. Their slab is a do-it-yourself kit. It's really thin. They were able to put 5 books inside of a medium flat rate mailer and with bubble wrap. They have hinges on the top of their slab that you can't see in any of their pictures. They crop them out of their pictures so you can't see the full slab, which is kind of dishonest. And the slab is so thin that every single book I got back had extensive Newton rings. It was rather distracting. That was my personal experience. Now, they do allow you to do customized labels. That's their claim to fame. And when I say custom labels, I mean if you got a Wonder Woman book, the first appearance of Cheetah, and you want leopard print or cheetah print label, you can do it. If that's your thing, then that gives you some great opportunities.
Okay, so I'll say 2 things without having extensive knowledge myself. If anyone knows of or watches Big Wheel Comics, I was listening to a show of his where he said that EGS was working on a new case.
That's what I've
heard. Should have it maybe by April, May, sometime around there. Yeah. And so I told him that I may think about giving them a shot, and he advised me to maybe wait until a little bit later and try their newer case.
Yeah, if they get their own case, it gets rid of the hinges and gets rid of the Newton ring issue. They'd be a potential alternative because that is an issue. I know PGX is along the same way with that. They have case issues. They've been supposedly redesigning their case for over a year, but I haven't seen it materialize. But it's not easy these times either. So
right, and with the price of materials going up, because side note, the price raising, I'm going to sound like a company guy now, but the price raising that's gotten to a lot of people may have something to do with inflation and the prices of everything. kind of rate or
Could
kind of
could do
rival,
with their investment
maybe,
company coming in buying the company
and
too.
and the investment company. They should be finding ways to cut costs. That's what investment companies are supposed to do. I don't know what this is with everybody. And
A
people
whole
keep
nother
blaming
rant I can get onto.
people people blame Jay-Z like he owns Blackstone or whatever the company
I
is
don't
called.
blame Jay-Z. I blame I
like
blame the company. But
People
like
always
Jay-Z
blame the most
probably
public figure of any company, though. It's just
like
someone for them to latch on to.
Jay-Z probably has like 0.023% stock. But another note about EGS, they are working on with some other community members a veterans project,
mhm.
which I really like that he's dedicated to that, and so like they may be especially for PC books. Like I recognize the value in CGC for books that I may sell in
Yeah.
the future because every book I have isn't going to always stay with me. There's going to be some that do, um, and some that will leave out of the door. And I recognize that CGC is the way to go right now for that purpose.
If you look for
But
value.
for PC books, if you can get me a case that is you know relatively sturdy and give me some kind of good service. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to show that you're at the top of the mountain for me to do business with you. Just give me something of decent quality, and that may be an option for PC
Yeah.
books for
No,
books
I
that,
agree.
that I want
I
to.
agree. I think that if
Yeah,
EGS could fix their slab, made their slab, got rid of the hinges and made this and did something with the slab, I think that from a PC standpoint, especially, their customizations that they allow and some of the stuff that they're doing, I think would make it a very desirable alternative for
yes,
people who want to go off and get stuff customized for their PC and for their displays. I think it absolutely is great customer. I thought that the customer service was top notch when interacting with them. It was just I didn't my personal taste when it came to their label and slab wasn't my thing. Their turnaround time was pretty much about when I used them back then was pretty much about what they promised. Their cost, you know, if you're slabbing on just a regular basis, it's not the best. It's not the worst.
No, that was a lot of good information.
Yeah, and all that being said, take one book, sub it to each company, see which one you like the best.
Yeah, and again,
Especially if it's for
I do
your
have
PC.
videos where we did that, where we took, EGS, CBCS, CGC, PGX, and we did do. There's a segment that is just talking about features and what basic pricing, and another one that compared slabs and stuff. And I always recommend people do that themselves. By all means, want to get into greater detailed slab discussions, always hop on by on Saturdays to Slab Hub, where we always have people on there that are deep into having their books encapsulated and happy to answer any and all questions.
Deep
all right.
into the slab game.
That's right. We
that
always
deep.
go deep. We go deep.
I know. Gene sent us down a rabbit hole here. A good one, though, the educational one. Now, we are approaching the hour 15 mark, and I know Nick and I got to get up early and go to bed. Go to bed and go to work. So what we're gonna do, TJ, is we're gonna start up there with Rob and go down and say our goodbyes. Our guest gets the last goodbye. When we get to you, let our audience know what you have coming up on our channel, and if there's any shout outs or any channels that you want to shout out, that's your time to do that as well. So, Rob, what have you got coming up on your channel, sir?
Well, Saturday is Slab Hub, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. This week, from Whack Comics, will be our guest will suck. That's right, it's Tyler from Whack Comics will be on the show, and then I'll be also announcing at the end of the show. I'll announce when my mystery boxes go live that I've been teasing on Instagram. Then, of course, Monday's mail call is looking like it's going to be huge.
And you should mention the haul the guys have been getting away with on your slab hubs the last couple.
Yeah,
times.
absolutely.
They've been getting extra book. Those
so we do giveaways for the live stream participants on Slab Hub as well. Usually at least 2. We do. I have I have a short box here full of comics that are extras, whatever things seeded with some good stuff too. That we do pulls throughout the show. You can simply just by doing a hashtag, you can get 5, 6, 7 books pulls, and then some of those on the backing boards will call for extra pulls or bonus books or Slab Hub mugs and stuff. And so you can end up with a whole mess of prizes, free books, free comics, and they ship U.S. and Canada.
And Nick, the master of posting slabs. First of all, before I even ask Nick what he's got coming up, Nick, I have to say, without a doubt, you have the best looking sale post on Instagram I see for slabs. Like, no one compares to your post, dude. Those things are incredible.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But what have you got coming up, sir?
Don't just compliment me. Buy something, Gary.
Why don't you put some Redstone or some Conan up, huh?
Yeah, I ain't got none of that. What do I got going on? I have one of the hottest modern books coming back from CGC this week. Stay tuned for the unboxing, and stay tuned, Gary, for the inevitable good-looking Instagram post trying to sell said book.
I wasn't blowing smoke, dude. Your posts are fantastic. They look so nice. Like, they're so eye-catching.
Thank you. Tomorrow I will be on Legion of Comics Friday Hangout. You guys should definitely come out if you want to learn about the hobby. That's a great place. Any and all questions are taken. And that's about it for now. I want to thank the chat. You guys have been wonderful tonight as always. And YouTube has a great feature now where if you're in the chat and you highlight somebody's channel.
It's if you're a moderator.
If you're a moderator, okay. But if you happen to have that blue wrench, you can automatically go and subscribe to people's channels. So I've done that so far. So
I'll say you should be a moderator, Nick.
Yeah, I've
Rob both should be.
Yep, I've subscribed to J80 Hobbies, John Malo, and Jimmy G tonight. So
yeah, this was a great show because I saw a lot of new people subbing people that they didn't see before. So that's awesome. And that's a big part of what my channel is about. So this week on my channel, probably going to put out another shout out video because I've been looking at some channels that need some love. Definitely going to do my Savage Saturday comic review. I may do something tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see if I take a day or not. And but just a lot of fun. I want to thank everyone who came out last week when we had the 1,000 subscriber show giveaway. And I want to thank everyone tonight that came out to learn more about TJ. And TJ, you were a spectacular guest. It has been absolutely phenomenal talking to you tonight. Thank you so much for coming on my show and our show. And just it's always a wonder to me. I'm booked up until March, and it's always a wonder to me that people want to come on here. I'm always amazed. But thank you, sir, for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I apologize for missing the beginning of your show, of the interview.
Yeah, I kept checking my phone. I'm like, this is not like Rob. Is Rob okay?
I was in my recliner. You know how those recliners are when you get past 40, man. It's just
right?
they're just like.
Dude, I just need a heated blanket and I'm good. I'm out.
I sat down to try to get caught up with some comics. I had comic books out.
That is funny. But I completely understand. Even without the recliner.
Oh, adulting's hard. Taking naps is easy now.
As Natasha would say, the sun's getting real low.
Sun's getting low, big guy. Would you
That's
like
it.
to tell us what's coming up on your channel, or shout anyone out that you may want to?
Let's see. Let's see. First, I want to thank you for inviting me on. It is still amazing to me because I'm a little shy, at least starting out. I don't like this whole YouTube thing and getting to know people is really bringing me out of the shell that I didn't think I would come out of. I When I first started, or when I first thought about starting, I don't know if anybody knows the late comic Jabroni, but I watched his channel. And watching his channel was the reason why I thought about it. But I was really nervous. And he's like, "Don't be nervous. Just get out here and just do it. Just turn your camera on. You got comics, you got content. Turn your camera on. Do what you want to do. That's it. And over time you get better." And so doing that has kind of broken me out of the shell uh, in an interesting way. I was actually in a and y'all gonna let me talk all night. I was actually in a
You're
management
fine.
class through last year, and one of the parts of the one of the important parts of the management class was public speaking and giving a presentation over PowerPoint in front of people um, on a subject of your choosing. And I thought to myself, I used Jessica Cruz Green Lantern in my presentation. She was my icebreaker. But
Ooh,
but being on YouTube and talking to people on YouTube and being public on YouTube really helped out with the public speaking part of it because I don't do that a whole lot. Um, so I appreciate anybody who asked me to come on, be part of a show, um, even to sit there and just sit and be part of, just not even be the center of attention, but just to come on, press the stream yard button and just come on. Oh, okay, I'm one of the cool kids.
Right. And when you
But
get 25 or 30 slabs, you come see me. We'll get you on Slab Hub.
oh, whew, what am I? What is it? I need 20 more, maybe. I think
better start
I've got
submitting.
I've got I've got 5 or 6.
That's right. We got
Uh,
openings for next year. You're good.
all
Just
right. But so I do appreciate you. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Um, I'm working off of my phone right now. My One of my 2022 goals is to take out this camera that my wife bought me for Christmas. Not for Christmas, for my birthday last year. And actually put it to good use. I've used it a few times in a regular camera capacity, but she bought it so I can use it as a webcam. So I need to get
there you go.
started on that and 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 get up to speed with everybody else is streaming. Um, so that's one of my goals. But that being said, I hadn't been able to. Oh, I got something in my eye. Oh. I haven't been able to look at the chat to see everybody, but I appreciate everybody who stopped by and spoke well wishes. Um, all right, Gene, we are in the short slab club. But yeah, but I appreciate everybody that stopped by. As for me and what I am doing, I know. So this is issue number 1 of Moon Knight from 2006. It stars my favorite story called The Bottom. And I have done videos on issues 1 through 5. And issue 6 is probably going to be my next video. If you ever hear somebody referring to Moon Knight cutting someone's face off, it's in issue 2 of this story. It's kind of the best place to actually start, in my opinion, best place to start reading Moon Knight and really getting to know him. He kind of They call it The Bottom because he starts off the story at the bottom, like broken and hurt and
Sure does.
addicted to pain pills and alcohol and everything, because it got pretty brutal in his last fight.
And
But
that David Finch art too. Ah,
yes, so there is one of the things one of my regrets. I don't have many regrets, but one of my regrets, one of the if only I knew type of things. I had a 9/8 of this book in a sketch cover, and I let it go. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't regret it, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think, you know what, I may take a loss, but I'm gonna find that book for. I'm gonna pay more than I sold it for, but I'm going. But I hate that I sold it so bad. But issue number 6, I'm going to go over probably in the next day or two. Besides that, I have some mail, including a couple of CGC books that I want to open. I'm really excited about. I may do that live. I don't know when. I want to go live. I want to stream more next year. So that'll probably be the first time I go live. And besides that, that's the Ramita Jr. cover.
Hold on, Nick. I'll make you beg.
Wow.
Hold it up there, buddy.
Oh, that's the Virgin version. Okay. What is that? Is that like a 1-in-1 or 1-in-2? I think that's a 1-in-100 or 1-in-200. One or the other.
1 in 200.
Okay, yeah. I knew it was one of those. Yeah. No, I didn't come off of that much bread on Moon Knight #1. I did buy a few variants, and I almost forgot. I do have a couple of variants of Moon Knight #1, including an exclusive that eventually I'm going to give away for a 300 subscriber giveaway. I've got to figure out how I'm going to put it together, what I'm going to do, what the parameters are going to be.
How close are you to that goal?
What's that?
How close are you to that goal?
I passed it already, but one of the books I know I wanted to give away comes out this week. Moon Knight #7 comes out, and if you look up the B cover, it's a cover of Mr. Knight in the suit and hood with his arms all rolled up, and he kind of got guys beat up on the floor. But then if you look at the shadow, it's Moon Knight's shadow. And I thought that cover was going to be exclusive when I first saw it, but then it turns out it's just a B cover, and so I want that to be part of the giveaway. So I didn't want to say anything until I knew I was going to have that cover in hand. But I'm at like 308 now, so my giveaway is going to be in arrears, but it's going to happen. I just got to figure out how.
That's all right. So I'm getting you to 400.
I will receive that. I will receive that. I appreciate it very much. But besides that, I'll be here going over some of the comics I read throughout the week. And there it goes. And I will be I try to do my new comic book day and pick up video on Thursdays at 12:30 Central. And I try to do a premiere so I can hang out and talk to people and everything. That's the closest I get to live streaming just yet. Because I like the live stream at work when I'm on break or whatever. But I have a terrible time getting data in my office. It's terrible. But that's kind of what I got going on. Is I'm gonna try to put a giveaway together. Maybe do one of those where you have to go and check out a smaller channel than mine in order to get submitted, something like that. And my CGC and mail call that I'm gonna do sometime live. We'll see when that happens.
Well, now you got a goal. You got to get up to 20 slabs so you can get on Slab Hub. We'll shoot for that.
One really good one to talk about for an hour.
Right.
Well, I don't. None of mine are. I may be able to talk about one of them for an hour. I don't know how much you want to. Go ahead.
I say he's being facetious. We don't let anybody on with less than 25. We have the bouncer at the door doesn't let him in under 25.
He's like, we have strict rules and regulations around here.
He runs a tight ship over there.
We have standards, sir. This is a Wendy's.
We've had some people bring on some bangers, and we still tell them, I don't care. Yeah.
How many bangers do you have? 24. Oh. Call me back when he hits me up.
Go get a filler slab.
Go get a filler slab. Go get somebody else's slab.
That's right.
Just
Nick's
come
got a
back
whole
with
bunch
25.
available. Go see Nick. He'll take care of you.
Yeah, watch the episode with Nick on it. Nick showed some killer slabs.
How long ago was that one? I go and look that up and put that on the watch list right now.
Well, I don't know where Nick was, but if you go to my channel, there is a playlist.
Okay.
On the playlist section, there's a playlist that's just Slab Hub, and you can go through it and find the guest section of who was on when.
Gotcha. Because I just put Rob on my every video notification. So I watch his mail calls when they come in now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we will wrap it up here. We've been going for an hour and a half.
And the bots are finding you, Gary. So
I know. And
the bots. Oh no, this is not the Matrix 5.
Episode 22 is Nick's Kicks and Comics.
There you go.
All
and
right.
a good episode it is. and skip right over that Gary one. That's when he was slumming and just took on poor me.
Yeah, 26. Gary had 26. He had to let him in.
Hey, you gotta get, as long as you can get in, you get in. You worry about the details later.
Sounds like our younger days.
Yes,
and on
it
that
does.
note, again, audience, thank you for everyone who subbed up our guest tonight. Thank you guys, and who subbed my co-host. They're both great gentlemen who help save my show every week and add a lot to it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. TJ, I appreciate you guys. And as we always end these, we are going to sing this one out with Awkward Ending.